Hello everybody. Today in this video I want to be showing you all how to fix the mouth movements in these YJ animatronics. YJ is the company that produces these animatronics. This here is a Bloody Bag of Jokes. This is actually the remake model, the 2021 variant. This one actually is not broken yet, but I will be opening him up anyway to reverse the mouth movement, which I will show you how to do. The thing that breaks these mouths so quickly is normal mouth movement, they move like this. However, with YJ ones, they move like this. And that actually breaks the mouthpieces a lot faster. I'm not 100% sure why. I assume it has to do with the way the mask works. But, all the YG characters have this. Obviously, Bloody Bag of Jokes here. The original and the remake one. Toothy the Clown has it. Miss Fortune Teller has both of her mouths have the upper jaw movement. Miss Fortune Teller actually, quick side note here, Miss Fortune Teller needs this the most because the mouthpieces will sometimes split and they will fall into the mechanism that turns her head around, and then you have a bigger issue with that being broken in there. Because you can fix these, you can replace these mouthpieces pretty easily and for pretty cheap too. Who else is there? I already said Toothy. Reaper of Souls has it. Witch of Stolen Souls has it. Pumpkin Nester. Swinging Swamp Hag. There's the Zombie Barrel. I'm sure there's more I'm missing. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing. But those are the ones I can think off the top of my head. But either way, the mouth movements in these break pretty fast. Some still work. Some of the mouths in these still work. Some of them broke immediately. You know, their animatronics are weird. They can last 2 minutes. They can last 20 years. But very simple fix. The hardest part is actually, it's not even replacing the piece, it's actually getting the masks off, because these masks are hot glued on, so you will need to pick off the hot glue very carefully. But it's a simple fix otherwise. But I suppose we should get started. Any parts, any tools that you're going to need. You're going to need a screwdriver, like a Phillips head screwdriver, to actually swap out the mouthpieces. If you're going to reverse the mouth movement, you're going to need a soldering iron. And you need a hot glue gun to glue the mask back on when you're done, so the head doesn't come flying off. And then you're also going to need one of these. This is your new mouth lever for these. This is from Skull Crane. It's like, I don't know, 15 bucks for this. This is good for them. Obviously this one, he's not gonna get it because, like I said, this one isn't broken. But you'll need one of these if it is broken. So it's like 15 bucks. That's all you'll need. Again, if you're switching it, you're gonna need a soldering iron, a hot glue gun. You're gonna need, even if you're not reversing it, which I'd recommend reversing it, because then it's just probably gonna break again. But you can see, this mask here it's hot glued on. But these are still relatively simple. The worst part is actually getting the mask off. But then the actual repair itself is pretty easy. So let's get into it. Now, the thing that you really need to do, which is the most difficult part, is actually getting these masks off. The masks are hot, like this one. Like, obviously, let me make a joke here. It isn't. He doesn't have the mask isn't on all the way. There's not like a solid ring all the way around. So it's only hot glued like over here and all. But some of them Like YJ really loves their hot glue. Some of them, it is hot glued all the way around the head. So you need to just very slowly, just kind of, I'm not going to do it on camera because it's it's better to have 2 hands for it. And just very slowly just kind of pick away at the hot glue until the mask comes off. And the mask will usually just kind of come off pretty easily. Now once you actually get the mask off, you can see here, you just pick off this hot glue and it comes off. The mask comes off. These mouthpieces usually aren't glued in or anything. You take your screwdriver here. I'm gonna have to do this one hand through the camera. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. This kind of, he is moving away from me. Basically, you take out this screw here. I might have to do this off camera. You take out that screw. You're gonna keep this screw. You're gonna set it aside. Since these are all engineered the same between all the YJ characters. Basically, you just like slide the original mouthpiece off. And this other piece here, you also want to take that off. You put that aside. And then you take your new one here and just press it back into place. There. And then you take your other piece here and then slide it in there. And then you take your original screw, you take it and you screw it in there. So it's pretty much, they're the exact, obviously basically the exact same thing. You just screw it back in, holds the mouthpiece together. Your mouth will now work. And if some of them have springs, neither of the mouths on what's her name? Miss Fortune Zeller moved or had springs on them, but Reaper of Souls did, and this guy doesn't. So if you need the springs, if you're gonna modify it, you're gonna want to swap the spring around. You just because they're set up on the other side, you can move it around to this side, and then if you're gonna reverse it, come down here. You take your soldering iron, like I stated earlier. If you're gonna reverse it, you need a soldering iron, and you take off the wires. This one here has a transistor and a capacitor. It's kind of hidden behind there that are connected to both contacts on the motor. The contacts, like you see, this is the one contact there. Those are jumps between both contacts. If something is jumps between both of them, leave them on there. Don't worry about taking those off. But then you take off the wires, any wires that run on the motor, and then you swap them. This one has already been swapped. I did that earlier. This one has already been swapped. This one here, actually the wires that run to the LEDs are actually jumped off a capacitor that's actually hidden behind this motor cover. But they connect to this piece too. So you want to basically keep the wire basically diagramming the same. You just mirror the connections. So just keep them connected how they originally were. Just switching them. It's really simple. And then you begin reassembly. Reassembly, I can't do it through camera because it requires 2 hands. And it's really awkward to do. Basically, you take the mouthpiece and you feed it back into where the original one was. You can feel around inside the mask. You'll usually feel like a space for the mouthpiece. And you basically slide the mouthpiece in there. You can hot glue it optionally. It's kind of more difficult to do because you can sometimes get hot glue everywhere. And then once you get it back on, you basically just re-glue the mask. I add like a dab of hot glue on each spot. And then you also, this piece here it holds the head steady. Just adds additional support in the head. That can sometimes be in the way when reassembling it, and sometimes it can also be a bit difficult taking it off, but it's there, but you can work around it. So you put the mask back on. Obviously, if you keep feeling around in the mask, make sure it's refit. And obviously I haven't re-glued it yet. You just basically re-glue it. You add glue to it to hold the mask back on. Obviously, I'd recommend only adding like a bead of hot glue. I only recommend adding a bead of hot glue on like each side. Like I add one in the front, back, and then one on each side. This one, his head's mounted a little bit differently. But I just add a bead of hot glue on each section, and that holds the head on fine. Obviously, like I said earlier, gluing the mouthpiece is optional. I wouldn't do it on all of them. Some of them, sure. Some of them, not really. Obviously, don't add glue all the way around, because the mouth will break again, whether it's the mouthpiece or like an LED in the eye can go out, or the motor can die, or a wire can come off. There's a lot of things can go wrong up in the head. So don't add a ton of glue. That way when something else breaks, you can easily reopen it without having to worry about ripping anything, without ripping the mask at all. But after that, you hot glue it, and it's good to go. Alright, he's been fully reassembled. The mask has been glued back on. It has not been glued up here yet. But I want to plug it in for you. Get him off. There you go.
You know I'm holding a knife in here. And you know what's bloodier than this knife? You when I get out of here.
Do him one more time.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? Walking in here upside down like that. Isn't all the blood rushing to your feet?
So there you go. That's a simple fix. And if you reverse the wires, it can make the mouth look good. That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if this helped you, leave a like. Thank you all, and goodbye.